Before we get into this, I just want to let you know it's taken me a minute to think about this to make this perfect before we just jump into it and kind of bury what AEW is doing. Now, I'm not going to say that I hate AEW or WWE is better or AEW is better. It's not about that. What this is about applying criticism to AEW, which I think is much needed because there's a lot of people who are thinking, well, you can't really say bad stuff about AEW because it's not WWE. And there's people on the other side who are like, WWE is perfect. So I don't think there's any right opinion here when it comes to what you like and what you dislike in professional wrestling. But I will say this, that there are some things that need to be looked at with AEW. And I will say that AEW is not perfect. So when we want to take a look at AEW Fyter Fest and even take a look at Double or Nothing to kind of look at what kind of show we're going to get for AEW television. Well, scratch that. The problem is that Tony Khan actually came out and said, this isn't the product you're going to get on television because we won't have that hardcore violence that you saw at Fyter Fest with 2 hardcore matches, a non-sanctioned and a hardcore on the pre-show. And that kind of puts me at a loop here where I think that this is kind of going to segment some of the audience, right? Because you have these people who want this show, this brand that they're giving out here with this alternative, more hardcore action, more in your face, chair shots to the head, blood, all this stuff. But when it gets to TNT, that's not the product we're going to get. Now, I'm not going to say that the TNT version of the product is going to be bad because we're still going to get amazing wrestling, great storytelling. And again, we won't really know until the time gets there and we actually watch the product on television. Nobody knows. Can they carry this product from week to week to week writing television? That's something we've yet to see. They can put on these awesome big shows, but when it comes to television, is this something that they can deliver on? One of my major issues with AEW is that their pre-show doesn't really sell me on the main show. I think Double or Nothing did a better job about it with their pre-show selling me, but when it comes to like the casual fans tuning in, people that have never watched the product before, seeing some of the stuff on the pre-show can kind of be disheartening. Now at Fyter Fest, I did love the tag match. I thought that was really awesome. The women's match could have been a little bit better. And then the Michael Nakazawa Jabated match, right? Justin, what's his name? It's not Justin. It's Alex Jabailey, who's the Jabated meme on Twitch. If you didn't know, Jabated, that's him. Same guy. I didn't know that, and I just found it out. So we had those matches, and I wasn't really a fan of that hardcore match. Alex Jabailey is the CEO, president, I guess, the founder of that. So I can understand why they wanted to put him in here and have him do something, but I don't know. To me, it just didn't fit, and having that last on the show was kind of, yeah. The other problem I had with AEW Fyter Fest was kind of the way that they went about the Fyre Festival stuff. Now, if you're not familiar, there was a luxury festival concert that was going to happen on a remote island called the Fyre Festival. If you saw the documentary on Netflix, you know what it is. But they did some stuff at Fyter Fest, and they did a backstage segment with Kenny Omega, which I thought was kind of corny. He was carrying around equipment, and he found out the band wasn't going to be there, and then the whole show was just falling apart. Whatever. We get it. It's funny. It's like a play on that. So if you saw that, you get it. If you didn't see that, you don't get it. I actually had tweeted some stuff out and was just like making memes about it. And Macho tweeted something out making memes about the cheese sandwich thing. And I don't think half the people actually understood. Even JD from New York was like, wait, what? I didn't know you were going. And that's really what they gave you for food? No. It was all memes. It was all fun. And that's a disconnect there, which some people, because there are wrestling fans that only watch wrestling, didn't know what that was, and there was that disconnect. And that's kind of the thing there where I feel like that was kind of the thing. The big disconnect with that product was like the Fyre Fest. Yes, I get what they were going for. I understood. A lot of people understood, but it just didn't hit there for me. So we had that. So that was kind of the thing. And then we also had this gaming convention where they did a lot of gaming references. Like MJF cut a promo on this and said he used to play video games until he lost his virginity, which I think is funny. I think it's great. But again, for putting down video gamers in this day and age is just cheap heat to me. It doesn't really mean anything because there's so many gamers out there. It's like the coolest thing ever. Like millions and millions of people play video games, but that's MJF's kind of thing. So we'll let it slide there. And then they did a Street Fighter reference, which I thought was really cool, where they had Akuma and then Ken and Ryu, and I thought that was really fun. And then it was pretty interesting watching Jim Ross try and pick up on this, and they were kind of like, hey, that's a Street Fighter reference, and Jim Ross was like, yeah, I get that. So that was really fun, and, you know, the crowd loved it. That tag match that they did, the crowd was like super, super into it, and they were all for that, and I think that was like one of the shining moments, was just like how the crowd is into the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. But when you talk about Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Cody, and how they're all playing out, I have this fear here. This fear that they're going to use those guys and they're going to put those guys over and they're going to be like the main focus of the product, right? Their guy is Hangman Page. Now, whether you think Hangman Page should have won that or MJF should have won that 4-way, that doesn't matter. They put Hangman over. They want him to be the guy that's going to be their face of the company. And whether you believe he's the face of the company or not, that's who they're going with, and we'll see what they can do with him. To me, I've never seen him as a face of the company kind of guy, but now that we're going to see him on AEW and we're going to see him more focused in that main picture, maybe he'll turn out to be that guy for me. Again, I can't really judge it right now. They've only had 2 shows, so it's kind of like I can't judge Hangman Page's work on what he's been doing there. So we'll see how they portrayed their face, because I think in 2019 it's very hard to make a face that works, like a very clean, squeaky face, which I kind of think that they're going to do with. They're kind of doing that with Hangman Page. So that's kind of the thing there. And then also you want to talk about some other things that were kind of a disconnect. And it was that chair shot to the head that Shawn Spears delivered, gave it to Cody, and boom, busted him open. And after the show, the Young Bucks went on their little press thing, because they have like, which is really cool. They have a press thing after the show where they have press ask questions, they answer them. They said that the chair was gimmicked, but it still hit him in the head and busted him open, staples and blood everywhere. But he was good to go after that. He got staples, no concussion there it was. That's one of those things where I mean, it was there. The feeling was there. The it factor of that chair shot was there. You see it, you're like, ah, yikes, ah, ooh. Hopefully those are far and few between, because I don't want to see more of that, because that's a little bit much for me. I mean, I get it. I understand. They're going to have some of that insane action. They're going to do some things that are crazy, but I really don't want to see people with concussions. I don't want to see people that are crippled when they're older. I don't want to see that. That's not the kind of wrestling that I want to see. But again, maybe I'm just in the minority, but I just don't want people killing themselves out there for the craft, you know. They did some hardcore matches. They did unsanctioned matches, which, again, that's whether you like that or not. This wasn't deathmatch wrestling. There was barbed wire, tables, chairs, thumbtacks, Legos, I think, at one point in the opening one. But it wasn't like the deathmatch with the glass panes and all kinds of fire and like all that stuff that we're used to. And even like I've seen drills to the head and a bunch of crazy stuff. It wasn't that, but there was some cool moments in it. And the one thing I will give them about like with deathmatch wrestling, whether I like it or not, a lot of those guys set up these stunts and these crafts, and they have like layouts of how they're going to do this all and how it's all going to play out. And those guys know like, okay, it looks crazy, but some of it's not actually crazy. So I give them credit for that. Just some of the stuff where they take like a drill to the head or a saw to the face is like, I can't really watch that. I can't. It's just, ow, ow. It's hard for me to watch, but that's besides the point. So let's get back to AEW and let's talk about their little issues that we have here. The Cody Darby Allin match was really cool. I thought it was great that we got to see a time limit draw. I think that's something that's really cool. We haven't seen that in professional wrestling, and everyone's like, 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes. The crowd was chanting it. And I'm like, no, there is no 5 more minutes. Those are the rules they set in place. And I think it was nice that they had a time limit draw. They let Darby Allin do his thing. The only problem I really had with that Cody Darby Allin match, as good as it was, I still feel like it was mostly Darby Allin trying to do stuff and failing, and then Cody just taking his time being a heel. And it just was like kind of off-putting to me, because Cody, to me, is a face in the company, but maybe he's not. He did his stuff with Dusty, his brother, his Dustin, and now they're going to team up against the Young Bucks. So it's kind of like, is he a face? Is he a heel? What is he? I don't know. That's kind of the other disconnect I have with some of the talent here, is I can't really tell what direction they are. Are they a good guy? Are they a bad guy? Maybe that's the motive that they're going for here in AEW. Maybe that's what they want from AEW, is for you to not know who's good guy and bad guy. MJF, you can tell. Chris Jericho, you can tell. Kenny Omega, you can tell. But when it comes down to some of those guys. Like Cody, is he a face? Is he a bad guy? Is he a heel? What is it? I can't really tell. And I kind of wish there was a little bit more of that. Now, again, some of the action wasn't all great. Again, some of the pre-show matches I didn't really care for. And some of the stuff just felt kind of off to me. And again, it's just one of those things that they need to find here. They need to figure out what they're going to be when it comes to television. Because if they're not going to be this insane pay-per-view hardcore action, which I totally understand. You have your big 4 shows a year. I think that's what they're planning on, like 4 or 5 shows that are big pay-per-views a year, where you bring out the big guns, you do the big stuff like this, which I totally understand, and then on the TV you scale it back a little bit and you do, you know, a little bit lighter stuff, which I get, which I understand, which I completely understand. So hopefully they can figure this out. They know what they're going to go here. It's just kind of that really weird like disconnect for me right now. It's because it's like you're trying to get people to understand the product that you're putting out there. AEW has a branding that they want people to get behind, right? This is the action you're going to see. This is the high caliber athletes. These are the matches you're going to see. This is what you're going to get with AEW. But if we're going to get a scaled down version on television that's not going to be up to par with this, that might throw some people off, where it's like, I thought it was one thing and now it's another thing. Where WWE, as bad as it is sometimes, you know what you're going to get with WWE. They have a very good job at branding their product, whether it's WWE, whether it's NXT, NXT UK. You know what type of action you're going to get. With NXT, you're going to get that high caliber, great wrestling, you know, those theatrics during their takeover specials. You know what you're going to get. And then with Raw and SmackDown, you know what you're going to get as well. So it's like you know. You understand what you're getting. And WWE does a good job at like branding it. Branding it and knowing exactly where they want to go with their product. And that's what AEW needs to find. And again, they're still early in their infancy, but I wanted to just point out some of these things and just say some of these things where it's like, I don't hate AEW. There's growing pains right now. I think the commentary team was a lot better than it was before. I think the substitution, getting Alex Marvez out of there, was really good. So I think their commentary team's really good. I think that Excalibur and Jim Ross have a nice little connection together, and I think that's really great. And again, they're just on this growing pains. They're trying to figure it out. So they're running these shows. They're doing their stuff. We have Fight for the Fallen. Then we have All Out. And then All Out's going to be the last one before television. So I think we're going to finally have a clear vision on where they're going. We're going to have a champion by that time. We're going to have a tag tournament that's going to be going on. And there's going to be all kinds of good stuff. So I'm not going to say that AEW sucks. I'm not going to say it's the greatest. I'm not going to say it's better or worse than WWE, because that's for you to decide on your opinion on what kind of wrestling you like. But I will say this. There are some problems with AEW. They are not perfect. You can't say, oh, well, it's anti-WWE. Everything they do is fantastic, because that would be a lie. Not going to say it sucks, because definitely does not. It's different than what you get in WWE, and that is great. I just hope they can find their voice, their brand when they come to television. Because if it's not going to be that hardcore in-your-face action that we're getting right now, some people might be disconnected from what we're getting. Because if you're getting one thing now on pay-per-view, live streaming, and then you get a different thing on television, that's where we're going to see the disconnect. So we'll wait until we see when television comes out and see how it all plays out. But I did just want to put that out there. And hopefully there's not all the pitchforks and torches coming at me saying, boo this man! Because you know what? You got to be honest. They're not perfect. They got growing pains. They're going to find their voice, and hopefully they're going to continue to go up. I feel like they're learning their process right now. They put on 2 shows. They're putting on another one. Then they're going to put on All Out. Then they're going to do television. And I think by then, they're going to finally go, okay, this is the groundwork we laid. This is what we're going to do. And then they're going to move forward. So time will tell when television hits, if they're good, bad, or ugly. But my hopes are high. And I'm excited because I will be at All Out in Chicago. So if you guys are there, just come say hi to me. But yeah, if you guys have any thoughts, comments, agree, disagree, whatever, let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your opinions. We'll get chatting down there with you guys and talk and send some feedback back and forth and figure out, you know, what we like and dislike out of AEW. Anyway, guys, wrestling is awesome. 2019 has so many options for wrestling. So if you don't like WWE, there's AEW. You don't like AEW, there's WWE. You don't like both of them, there's Independent Wrestling, Impact, ROH, New Japan, AAA, and everything across America and the United Kingdom, Japan, Mexico. It's all out there. Go find it. Go on Google, look up independent wrestling in whatever state you live in, whatever country you live in. See one of those shows. Go find it, because there's no better time to be a wrestling fan. As always, guys, I'm Tony Pizza Guy, and we will see you